Guess I have wasted my time.
Wasted my time?
Well, trying to deal with mankind.
And that's a very hard thing to do.
But it tickles on the back of my mind.
Scratch!
Well, just to leave this world behind.
And then I would have fly like a bird.
I guess I'm not the only one.
Not the only one.
Like to see mankind living in tranquility.
UNITY. Sure.
And if only we agree,
come together.
We can live in unity.
Like sisters and brothers.
We're all in this thing together. Can't we all just live as one? Whoa. We're all like birds of one feather. It's time to live as one.
So me say hands and heart and harmony, loving one another, what a sight to say. Peace and love and unity, and that me want in my community. Oh yes, it would be nice to see the kids in the park, running round together without gunshot to pop. And it would be nice to see the enemies attack, preaching peace without no lying on them heart. Let's get together, make we get things done. Man from south, west, east and north. Cause I would never want to see you get caught when God Almighty shall be pouring his wrath. So me say,
We're all in this thing together. Can't we all just live as one? We're all like birds of one feather. It's time to live as one.
so me ask God, give me the strength and give me the energy, and make me talk to me family. And each and every wicked man on the follow me. Judgment and I go pretty iniquity. Unity is strength and the strength is the power. And if you get the power, then you unite together. We don't believe say man not kill the power and show up. This one I say I'm a black brother, all of it follow.
We're all in this thing together. Can't we all just live as one? Whoa. We're all like birds of one feather. Yes, it's time we live as one.
So me sing say hands and heart and harmony, loving one another, what a sight to stay. Peace and love and unity, and that me want in my community. So me sing say, give me the strength and give me the energy, and make me talk to me family. And each and every wicked man on the follow me. Judgment and I go pretty iniquity.
We're all in this thing together. Guess it's time we live as one.
We are putting together our legal team. The mood of members of the executive is that we are excited about defending the People's National Movement. We are excited about defending Dr. Eric Williams' party.
PNM Chairman Marvin Gonzalez, as he responded to a question from the media, as the police service has confirmed that the High Court granted a preliminary unexplained wealth order under the Civil Asset Recovery and Management and Unexplained Wealth Act against the PNM and its trustees.
I understand the General Secretary was served this morning. We haven't had the opportunity to look at the documents. He was only served, I think it was 1 o'clock this morning. And since then, we have passed the document to our legal team, and we are awaiting legal guidance.
The PNM's General Secretary is Opposition Senator Foster Cummings.
I have no objection whatsoever with the police doing what they're supposed to do. As a matter of fact, I was told that arrangement was made for the documents to be served at 1:30 today at Balize House. I guess the police didn't have time to wait at 1:30, and Mr. Cummings was met at the Piaco International Airport for the documents to be served.
However, Chairman Gonzalez, who is also an opposition MP, raised the concerns about a video posted online by the Express newspaper, which showed the PNM's General Secretary being served with what the newspaper reported was a court order compelling that the party provide financial and other records to explain the funding of the multi-million-dollar construction of Balize House.
I am very troubled by this because the police must say and explain who took that picture.
There's not a picture, it's
and
a video.
or a video. Worse yet, was it a member of the media or was it a law enforcement officer? And if it is a law enforcement officer, why was it leaked to the media and for what purpose?
The police service said in a statement on Saturday that the preliminary unexplained wealth order was obtained following an application by the TTPS as part of an ongoing investigation. But the TTPS also said the order is an interim measure granted by the court and does not represent a final determination of liability or wrongdoing. A question was posed to the PNM's chairman about whether the opposition party would consider requesting information about the government's funding.
We will await the outcome of the decisions by our legal team. We are not advising ourselves. We ought not to do so, but we will await the advice being given by our legal team. But I rest assured, and I want to assure the membership of the PNM that we will resist that with every sinew of our body, and we will expose it for what it is.
On Wednesday, MP Gonzalez said in a brief statement on Facebook that, quote, the party's financials is a matter for the membership through the General Council in accordance with its constitution. No one will impose values on the PNM that they don't live by, and that includes the UNC, end quote. The Express newspaper has quoted Prime Minister Kamla Persad Bessessa as having said that the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service and the judiciary are independent organizations. Jule Brown, TV6 News.
Trinidad and Tobago. My name is Renison Jeffrey. This is the Workers' Rights Platform. We are broadcasting live on the Workers' Rights Network. Now is actually 17 minutes after the hour of 3 o'clock. Trinidad and Tobago. Just yesterday, I would have came here with the facts as to prove to you and members of this country concerning this malevolent attempt by the UNC government as to totally destroy the PNM. Now, many of you yesterday would have called me and say, Jeffrey, you need to break down this a little bit. There are a lot of people that don't understand. And even if they understand, they don't know how to translate this information into words. Trinidad and Tobago, in my tenure, that went through several battles, still going through battles down with the court system and with people in general, I would have acquired some skills. A skill set that I would have tried to match up with people on the outside world, but sometimes I reach a point that, I stop searching. I am left alone. But thank God for the knowledge and for the wisdom that he would have imposed on his servant. Dear Master, my Lord and my protector, God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Thanks. Thank you. And today, Trinidad and Tobago, I would like you to join me on this journey this afternoon, in where we are going to disseminate the facts, and we will remove fiction from your face. Now, in my younger days, I would have gone through a course, Trinidad and Tobago, and let me tell you, it is just part of what is to be exposed today. So many of you would have been in the industry and will be aware of what we call the fire triangle. Yes, the fire triangle. And I will show you the malevolence of the man that they call John Jeremy. And malevolence is basically somebody who cannot wait for justice. They watch it, they aid in your destruction. And I believe that is what is taking place here with this UNC government. They can't wait for something to happen. They are engineering it. And they have people put in strategic places to make sure it happens. So, let me show you the fire triangle, and I go tell you
we are
how
putting
this...
together our legal team. The mood of members of the executive is that we are excited.
How this applies.
Welcome to this Tobacco University video going over the fire triangle, which involves what it takes for a fire to get started, what are all the requirements for it to get started, and to keep it going. It's called a triangle here because you need all three sides in order to keep that fire going. So looking here, that general fire triangle, what is it composed of? Well, we have fuel, we have oxygen, and we have heat. And when those all come together, you'll have fire. These three components are needed for fire to occur. So you need a fuel source, you need the presence of oxygen, and you also need heat, all present together. Any one of those aren't present, the triangle falls apart and the fire will be extinguished. So that fuel source, so again, it can be quite...
Now, it's the same concept. A fire triangle needs three parts. It needs fuel, it needs oxygen. Let me bring it back because let me bring back this thing. It needs fuel, it needs heat, and it needs oxygen for a fire to occur. And in everything Trinidad and Tobago,
our legal team, the mood of members of the executive is that we are excited about.
Welcome to this Tobacco University video.
And in everything Trinidad and Tobago, there are structures or pillars that hold up our organization. And just like fire, it needs fuel, heat, and oxygen to keep it going. I hope you follow me with this. The UNC government is being very strategic in how they are operating and how they would decide, or they would have decided to take down the PNM organization. And when John Jeremy would attack in the parliament, they would have instructed bloggers to attack the people outside here in the public. And you are seeing people like NCW, Matara French, David Welch, Heavy Duty, and the list go on and on and on and on. And what they are here to do is not just reshape a narrative, but attack the purpose of the PNM organization. And yesterday, Trinidad and Tobago, I know I didn't commit it in a certain way, but I want all you to understand strategy. Now, the strategy, nothing other than a sick mind could come up with something like this. But they know it's not just me alone that walk in this walk. I am guided in this walk here too. Now, I said in earlier where I could get it, because there will be some of you all that we need for you to come up to speed, that you could understand what is taking place here within the society. So bear with me a second. Now, coming from the 38 strategies of war, Law 12 would have talk about grand strategy, where it is you lose wars is something that Alexander the Great would have done and would have taken over the Persian Empire at the time. Whereas the Persians could have sailed anyway and drop a naval armada on any parts of the world, Alexander wasn't interested in that at all. He was interested in capturing the ports on which they land. So when he captured all the port, he made their fleet obsolete. So let's go in a little bit to the philosophy before I come back and expose the most sinister move in the history of Trinidad and Tobago. Take out a pen and a paper this evening. Let's go into it. From the 33 Strategies of War by Robert Greene.
Systems indirectly instead of confronting symptoms endlessly. This is a massive shift in thinking. Most people fight surface-level problems repeatedly without identifying the deeper structure creating those problems. Strategic people search for root structures instead of endlessly reacting to symptoms. This is one of the biggest differences between tactical thinking and strategic thinking. Tactical thinking solves immediate fires. Strategic thinking redesigns the conditions creating the fires. And one hidden layer here is that many people unconsciously become addicted to reaction because reaction feels emotionally stimulating. Constant reacting creates the illusion of engagement while deeper patterns remain untouched. Real strategic change often feels slower initially because it requires structural adjustment instead of emotional reaction. Now, another unconventional strategy Greene introduces is psychological contrast. Humans judge things comparatively, not objectively. This affects leadership, persuasion.
Now, that right there is the baseline of the thinking behind what John Jeremy is doing in the parliaments of our country. Now, some of you ain't going to be able to follow this, because some of you are addicted to these short-form TikTok videos. So you cannot pay attention. But trust me, this message today, if you ain't pick up on this, crap or smoke your pipe. Because people will continue to lie to you and do things beyond or below your level of awareness. And then you're wondering why we end up in this problem. There are people that watching us and mapping out what they're doing. This knowledge would have been existing for years. And we wondering as black people, why we here? Why we are at the bottom of the totem pole? Why it is the government of the day seems to don't care about us. They never would. They never have, a matter of fact. They was postulating something to reach into the position that they are in. But what is really the strategy of the UNC and I believe Trinidad and Tobago, that John Jeremy is also being used. Now, look at this model in which we here would have constructed. This is what you call an organizational model and the structure of any group or any organization, a matter of fact. Core elements that form an organization in people, and in brackets employees, finances, in brackets capital, purpose, in brackets collective mission. And when all of these things come together, like the fire triangle Trinidad and Tobago, it form a group or an organization. So let's apply this model here to the PNM. The supporters of the PNM is the employees, the people. The finances of the PNM is where they get their capital. Let me say the 1%, let me say business group, people interested. And then we had the purpose, the constitution of the PNM. And when all agree, then the organization is formed. So anytime you want to mash up a group of people, you deal with one of those. And we would have seen the UNC organization would have been relentlessly attacking the people. But they realized that the PNM ain't shaking at all. They move on to their next target. By forcing the PNM through a court order, Trinidad and Tobago, by touting the court, by this government touting the court of Trinidad and Tobago, will force the PNM to now reveal its finances, the capital in which they stand. And just as I would have said yesterday, they are out for blood. They are out to go after the jugular of the only fighting force that is capable of taking down the UNC government. The only other force outside the UNC that is big enough, that is bold enough, that have the purpose to take them out. They are actually going in to mash up, to destroy, to tear asunder our only hope, Trinidad and Tobago. So here it is, this matrix in which we would have put together here. When you attack the people, you take away all the jobs. When you go after the finances, yes, they're trying to block it. Let me deal with oil. Let me deal with oil one time. When you go after the finances, by forcing them to reveal all those who are financing them, you have a duty destroying the purpose. Watch black people. Watch black people fighting down black people. Watch how long the PNM in power. Watch how long. And this and done, and this and done. They destroy the purpose. And then the group or the organization is going to fall apart. That is the sinister plan of this UNC government. So to those who don't understand philosophy, to those who don't understand truth, today I hope and I pray that some clarity comes to you. By locking up the Hadid Trinidad and Tobago is an example, is a message that John Jeremy is sending to the finances of the PNM, because his mission is to go after the capital, the finances, those that keep the PNM organization afloat, to disrupt the triangle. To finally get rid of the thing in which we all could be proud of. So yeah, people that attack the people are ready to take away the jobs. Over 100,000 people gone home. To put them in disarray, distress. Some wondering, boy, let me jump fence. So we going after the finances now. Let the PNM explain, because that building would have cost millions of dollars, and the PNM alone cannot put up their building. So let us see who is the finances behind that, and we could go after them. Is a target. Is a target. They are using the court to reveal. The UNC government is using the court for PNM to reveal their finances so they could know who to hit next. When we having all them scumbags and them on social media, on mainstream media, attacking the purpose of the PNM and their supporters who would have dared come out and talk, because at the end of the day, when you see activists go in jail, that comes with a counter narrative concerning what the UNC is doing. They ain't know that at all. They have an advantage. They have Roger Alexander, whose duty it is to issue videos. Yes. And they are leaving some of us for it to look like if it's fair. For it to look like if it is just. It's not at the frayed workers' rights. Who is we? The reason any of us here haven't been hit with a PDO is not because the government of the day afraid us. Because all you see what take place with Danny Guerra is to show that they are neutral. Yes, that is why they didn't go after us. This government, Trinidad and Tobago, is one of the most malevolent government that it have in this country. And they are out for blood. They are not. They are up to no good. In opposition, they would have been watching us. They would have been plotting. They would have been scheming. Not just to win an election, but to take over the country and to turn it in UNC rule inevitably. So they ain't have no problem in sabotaging the corporations, because that too is part of the plan. For you to not trust in the structure of the PNM no longer. So when you see that cannot pay and the grass is greener on the other side, peer pressure, family pressure, oh God, come out of this PNM thing. That is what they are intended to do to you and to the average man outside here. for you to be fighting, cussing for bread. The plan to bring you to a place of desperation. Yes, that is the plan. To bring you to a place of desperation.
We're just about out of patience. We're not going to ask anymore. If I ask a man, I tell a man I am hungry. I tell him I am cold. And I ask him to do something about my condition. And this man holds a loaf of bread right in front of me so I can see it. And I keep asking him, I'm begging him to please give me a slice of the loaf of bread. I am hungry. Then it is known by every psychologist that the next step in the progression is I am going to knock him upside the head and take the bread from him. I'm not going to starve to death. There's a limit to a man's patience, and everyone knows that what we're asking is not $1 million. All we're asking for is humanity. And God, you tell us that this is too much to ask. You're sick. You're definitely sick. How can you tell me that it's too much to ask to be a human being?
Yes. How come you're telling me that it is too much to ask to be a human being, Trinidad and Tobago? How come? So when the government of the day decide to take out the only organization that is capable of giving them a fight, them in studying Michaela, you know. Now and again, they say something just to keep she in check. But if you watch Trinidad and Tobago, this cycle, just the other night we would have played this concerning. Listen, I want you to listen, because it's real. It's going on all different networks. They're trying very hard. Let me bring back up this sign for you to see. Yes. The core elements that form an organization, the people, the finances, the purpose, and that form a group. So when you have people talking this online,
I was telling them, who tell you to go and pick up a gun when it have other things? That's the pitch I running with. I'm not running with which politician tell them what. Not the Curry Master, not what Eric Williams say. I'm not talking about
no,
that.
but you see, you have to deal with the core issue.
I am speaking
because
about...
he referred, when they were making the choice to educate the people, he referred to the schools as cowsheds, right? And chose not to make schools to educate Afro-Trinbagonians, and Afro-Trinbagonians supported that.
Listen to me, yeah? I like to, when we talking, at the end of the day, I don't care what it is. He could call them cow shed, goat shed, whatever shed he chooses to call them. I am speaking directly to the community of itself, in and of itself, because you call them the cow shed, but it's plenty cow shed they build after that. And out of them cow shed comes great success, because the parents and persons from that community work hard, whether it's donation, whether it's to sell this, whether it's to sell that. They're strong in the churn PTA.
So what opinion box is engaging there in doing is trying to destroy the purpose and demoralize the people. You understand? His job is not to go after the finances. Listen for yourself. Listen for yourself.
Etc.
So, man, tell something. You go in and rally the black community to get them to do what you say, trying to say.
Listen to me. Listen to me.
Hold guys, hold on. Because I think you're gonna unmute, by the way, but I think both of you guys on the same line. I think Obi line comes from the political side of things and wanting to deal with that, and Aretha, you non-political and just on the side of human and just people in general now. But Obi was also speaking about the same thing that you're speaking about, the Indian and the African, and wanting African to do better because the Indian people in general do better as well. Not to make it about race, but that's basically the same thing that both of you guys talking about. Unfortunately, I think there's a misunderstanding in the communication there. Unfortunately,
David, I understand what she's saying, but hear what I'm trying to tell you, right? One of the hardest things to do is mobilize Afro-Trinbagonians to do the right thing. And since she wanted, the reason why I asked her the portion question earlier on is because I don't speak in general, I don't ever generalize. I just always say there's a large portion or a small portion or a majority, right? The majority of Afro-Trinbagonians in Trinidad and Tobago gravitate to degenerative behavior. Me asking you, I'm telling you. You see it on our social medias. Look at all the platforms that have the most degenerate content or degenerate behaviors. They have the largest set of followings. You want to know why? Because that is what we gravitate to, right? We are always quick to fight and undermine each other instead of trying to lift up one another, right? And we never stand for the right things. Look how many schools were closed down right in the Port of Spain area that was closed down by the PNM. Then you had schools that Kamla was built that they neglected to finish build. And I always tell people what PNM capitalizes on is the ignorance of their East-West corridor voter base. Because that is why I made the statement saying that if it required a means test to vote, PNM could never rule.
Now, Trinidad and Tobago, the purpose, again, is what they were instructed to attack, and the people as well, to make them look like if they're stupid and make the PNM look like if they don't know what they're about. That is the purpose of this broadcast. All of them.
In this country, there's a reason why voting is dumbed down to the dumbest version of just stamp a symbol next to X next to your symbol. It is done on purpose to make sure that down to the dumbest person who doesn't even understand half of the things that you are talking about, Arita, half of the things David is talking about, or half of the things I am talking about, can still vote. You have a society that votes most of the time on things they don't even blast it understand. And that is the truth. So how do you empower a society of people who don't understand these things? When you go into a ghetto community and you try to have conversations like this, they will load you up. They don't want to hear what you had to say. And the reason for that is because they've been abandoned so long, they don't... Why you feel me and X all isn't be saying on the radio station, there is no intervention. Afro-Trinbagonians in Trinidad and Tobago gravitate to degenerative behavior. Me asking you, I'm telling you. Afro-Trinbagonians in Trinidad and Tobago gravitate to degenerative behavior. Me asking you, I'm telling you.
So Trinidad and Tobago, this new witch hunt from the government is to take apart our only fighting choice. So I hope at the end of the day, this message here, the smallest man could understand it. Let me just do a quick recap. A quick recap. It's the same thing. It's the same thing, Trinidad and Tobago. It's the same thing. And then I go play John Jeremy video for you. Yes, John Jeremy video. This here is the fire triangle.
University video going over the fire triangle, which involves what it takes for a fire to get started, what are all the requirements for it to get started, and to keep it going. It's called a triangle here because you need all three sides in order to keep that fire going. So looking here, that general fire triangle, what is it composed of? Well, we have fuel, we have oxygen, and we have heat. And when those all come together, you'll have fire. These three components are needed for fire to occur. So you need a fuel source, you need the presence of oxygen, and you also...
For any organization to be able to stand up on its feet, It needs the people, it needs the finances, it needs the purpose, the collective mission. And that is what formed the group or the organization. And what these social media activists is going after is the people and the purpose. The ministries and them in Trinidad and Tobago goes after the people by taking away their jobs, forcing them into a life of poverty, strife and envy, where they turn families against families. Because when you're in harm, trust what I said, those that have, they become violent towards them. They are actually turning the population on itself. And when I say the population, they're trying to do it to the PNM alone. But the UNC membership is going to be affected regardless of what. So when we come here on this platform, it's to make that clarion call to you, Trinidad and Tobago, to see it for what it really is, and to reject the notion, the philosophy, and the malevolent, sinister behavior of this government. They are cruel. And if Trinidad and Tobago, that is their modus of operandi, in how they treat with the people of this country, we must stop seeing ourselves as Indian and as African, as PNM and as UNC. We must now see ourselves as the cure. Before election, I would have told anybody, politics must reach that point that we are actually picking our representative. Not they choose us and say we are this one or that one. We must have the power to reject representation from certain individuals. We must also have the power to reject our entire government when we see them ruling and operating in a particular way. We here is the government, but they take away certain powers from us. This what is taking place in this country is a witch hunt by the UNC as to target the 1%, the business community. It's a plan, it's a scheme. And this knowledge, this branch of knowledge would have existed from eons ago, when Machiavelli would have written The Prince, when the 33 strategies of war came after, when Sun Tzu write about the art of war, when Massimo Moto would have written several books and discourses concerning this. This knowledge exists outside here. It would have, some of it would have been existing in Sigmund Freud writing. Edward Bernays would have talked about this problem, reaction, solution. 1986. Double think. Mein Kampf from Hitler. This branch of knowledge would have been existing, and right now we have somebody in government that is exercising on us, the citizens of this country. And if we don't come together, sad be our portion. Again, I didn't come here. Normally we don't do no shows in the day, but yesterday I would have indicated to you that yes, there are circumstances beyond my control. I'm going to be there this afternoon again, and we will not be able to run it on the Workers' Rights platform. So join Candace Edwards on a TikTok page, on the Warrior Princess page. Type it up, and Candace Edwards will be going live with a strong panel that break down views like this on a daily basis. Again, at this point in time, calling on you members of the public. This is our account number in Republic Bank. Donate to the cause. Any Republic Bank, or you could go up to the teller, tell them this is the number, there is the neighbor, and it's in Jeffrey, and donate to the cause. Or you could do any wire transfer, or donate to the cause. Keep pushing this further. So, what I am going to do here is play the second clip.
Law 42. Strike the shepherd and the sheep will scatter. Trouble can often be traced to a... Law 42. Strike the shepherd and the sheep will scatter. Trouble can often be traced to a single strong individual, the stirrer, the arrogant underlying, the poisoner of goodwill. If you allow such people room to operate, others will succumb to their influence. Do not wait for troubles they cause to multiply. Do not try to negotiate with them. They are irredeemable. Neutralize their influence by isolating or banishing them.
Or you see why they get rid of Johan, or you see why they get rid of Alisa Philip, why the multiple arrests of the bloggers?
Strike at the source of their trouble, and the sheep will scatter. Observant, powerful men, military leaders, political leaders, who were seen to be flaunting their superiority in some way or another, would be the cause to them being exiled. Within any group, trouble can be most often traced to a single source: the unhappy, the chronically dissatisfied, one who will always stir up dissension and infect the group with his or her ill ease.
So, this is not a frightening. When the activists go outside there within the public, I can, this all of us, when we go outside there, they're actually watching us. Because at the end of the day, why they say, you know, them is not all that. But smarter than you know where the source of the power is coming from. And they're going after that and putting it to rest. What they do, they smite the shepherd. Had it maybe the president or some group, business group, and they're going after him to show that they could touch the highest member in the group. So when you smite the shepherd, the sheep, the flock is going to be scattered. They are going to feel afraid. Those that would have poured into our organization, that would have been touting the good of Trinidad and Tobago, would have been seen about the people of this country, that come with a 2020 vision, will back off. Go say, nah boy, watch how the Haddies fighting for their lives. Watch how they're fighting. Nah, let me go through that. So, again, Trinidad and Tobago, if you open in the fridge, they are going after the pillars of strength that holds up the PNM structure. Anybody blogging? The one who look like the financing? They're going after the shepherd. Yes. Oh boy, you understand what's taking place and the need for us and the reason why we need to come together in Trinidad and Tobago and put a stop to this UNC government democratically.
Before you know what hits you, dissatisfaction spreads. Act before it becomes impossible to disentangle one strand of misery from another, or to see how the whole thing started. First, recognize troublemakers by their overbearing presence or by their complaining nature. Once you spot them, do not try to reform them or appease them. That will only make things worse. Do not attack them, whether directly or indirectly, for they are poisonous in nature and will work underground to destroy you. Do as the Athenians did. Banish them before it is too late. Separate them from the group before they come to the eye of the whirlpool. Do not give them time to stir up anxieties and sow discontent. Do not give them room to move. Let one person suffer so that the rest can live in peace. And this can be seen in real life in the workplace. It can be seen in groups of friends and social situations where there may be one or two individuals who tout their superiority and build resentment among the common folk or among those in below positions to them. And so it's recognizing that instead of going on the attack, you play a more subtle game, a more manipulative game. I think it's just a more intelligent game. Learn the lesson. Do not waste your time lashing out in all directions at what seems to be a many-headed enemy. Find the one head that matters, the person with willpower or smarts, or most important of all, charisma. Whatever it costs you, lure this person away. But once he is absent, his powers will lose their effect. His influence will lose their effect. Keys to power. Now, power has changed in its numbers, but not in its essence. There may be fewer mighty tyrants commanding the power of life and death over millions, like presidents and prime ministers, but there remain thousands of petty tyrants ruling smaller realms and enforcing their will through indirect power games, charisma, and so on. And this is what I was talking about within workplaces and social situations. Thousands of CEOs and managers who have influence but are ruling in kind of a tyrannical way. In every group, power is concentrated in the hands of one or two people, for this is the one area in which human nature will never change. People will congregate around a single strong personality like planets orbiting the sun. We've all seen this every day. We see this.
Trinidad and Tobago, I hope you're understanding why they would have locked up people like you and Harry, people like Alyssa Phillip, and the lights. There are many of us that put behind bars. Many of us that put us behind bars. So when you see things like this, yes, I'm gonna bring the one with you and Harry here because I feel we need to see that. Why they lock up the boy?
Yeah, because it's an exercise taking place.
It's going on between and that next corner. So can you stand back behind the corner?
I just want to know.
All I'm asking, if you can go back to the end of this building, I have no problem.
What was going back to the end of this building?
I didn't say by the corner, I said right to the end of this building here. This one here. This one here. That's what I just said.
Right, thanks for your cooperation. Here we're going on. If they say we go so, we don't want to go
stay by the end of the building.
But I'm saying,
So what the police would have been doing, what the special branch would have been doing, is taking note of all those who are taking front line. And when they find a case on them, they stick it on them like glue. So there is a branch of knowledge Trinidad and Tobago that have two parts to it. You identify the shepherd, the cause, in terms of where protest is concerned. And then you go after the very structure of an organization and able to damage it or mash it up or eradicate it from taking place. And if you are still in doubt, Trinidad and Tobago, John Jeremy would have confessed in the parliament concerning that.
In respect of the observance of the law, all persons in Trinidad and Tobago, every single person in Trinidad and Tobago, whether you happen to be a funder of the People's National Movement, whether you happen to be a member of the 1%, if you break the law, if you cross that line that would excite the member for Tunapuna, I want to be very careful. The member for Tunapuna, whose job it is to write PDOs.
It's not a political thing. It's not a political thing. I don't know why people think it. And I am somewhat embarrassed by that. Why a person would think such a thing?
Well, then you know what? Whether you are a black man from the Beta or whether you happen to live in Bayshore and are stealing government land and property, I don't know. Whether, I'm just saying whether. I'm just saying whether. Whether you happen to be doing that, whether you happen to have called the Office of the Attorney General essentially at midnight on the 28th, when the results of the elections were coming in, to say, listen, get that lease fixed up for me now. Right? Whether you happen to be any of those persons, you know what? The member for Tunapuna, I am sure, sorry, I can't call you anything else. The member for Tunapuna and the Minister of Homeland Security will certainly put you on a PDO with Pipey and Rajiali down in Tetron.
What?
Let me see that again. You know what? The member for Tunapuna, I am sure, sorry, I can't call you anything else. The member for Tunapuna and the Minister of Homeland Security will certainly put you on a PDO with Pipey and Rajiali down in Tetron.
A few moments later.
And let me say again one more time, no government minister cannot instruct anyone to take out a PDO for anybody. It doesn't work like that. And if that's your information, you were highly misled.
So, Trinidad and Tobago, if by now you ain't understand why the witch hunting after to try to find out who funding, is what after. I sure them know that the PNM could provide receipt. That is not what after. The PNM could provide receipts because it come from some way. The materials to build the PNM building come from some way. It probably was, some was donated, some was given, but it come from some way. It didn't come out of thin air. And I'm sure that they could produce the receipt. But the UNC is not interested in those receipts. They want to know who buy what. Who support who? How much money they put in? Right now, contractors, that is who is being paid by the government, crying out. Many of those security firms and them, they ain't paying them. PRD, people from PRD call me. People from Allied call me. Anybody that they suspect is a PNM contractor, this government is going after them by not paying them. This is not a joke here in this country. The sinister plan of this government is to totally annihilate any support that the PNM have, any fighting chance. So just you born in Trinidad and being entitled to Trinidad and Tobago and all the riches, they are taking that away from you. They actually want you to be UNC or nothing at all. That is the game. That is what it is. Then come out and say it. When Kamala remained silent, when Roger Alexander talk a bunch of rubbish, that political dance, she agreed with it. When Philip Elliott Alexander come out here and disrespect the population of Trinidad and Tobago, and Kamala Prasad Bisesa say anything and nothing about it, she is in agreement. When John Jeremy want to know who funding the Balize House, and Kamala Prasad Bisesa saying nothing about it, she is in agreement. Silence is agreement. And Trinidad, I make that based on a statement. A tacit agreement is an unstated, unspoken understanding that imply and understand through the actions conducted, or a mutual silence of the parties involved, rather than being explicitly written or verbalized. So when we hear people making statements and other people remaining silent on it, they ain't saying nothing. I'm a good friend, you know. Can't say nothing about it. That is a tacit agreement. When you see in Barry Padarat closing down CPEP, he and Saddam, they take front stage, and no member of the UNC come out and say anything, that is an agreement. To do what? To send the poor and the needy home. That is an agreement that when September come, you cannot depend on your own self to buy books, shoes, clothes, pay a bill. That is an agreement to put you on the breadline trailer and to me. So going after the finances is just a next step to lick you up. Who? Them who don't have. Because it's the people who is financing the PNM. It's how some of you, how the ministers and them is able to give all your hampers. How some of them ministers and them is able to do book drive. How some of those ministers and them is able to keep sports days. Pay for you to come up on rally. They are now going after what is holding up the party structure. And now it's not time for no joke and say, but I don't want to be, I want to be in the back. I don't want to be in the front at all. Now it's not no time for that Trinidad and Tobago. Because some of you that do not want to take part in the politics of the day, the politics is killing us. Look on the roads, watch how many people traveling. The bus crowded. The hospital, some of the people they don't have medication. But these ministers and them getting the fat salary and they're coming up on the radio station. Cussing you. They're just saying it plain. When they're telling you, hold on, it's all your mother so and so they're telling you. When they're telling you, give the government a chance. When they're telling you, it's though a fin tell me anything. Let them do what they have to do. It's just they ain't coming out plain and tell you Trinidad. But we do this on this platform that you could see us most of the times. And we verbalize, we echo your voices, not our own. What we see within the public domain. So you can understand it's not you alone that hurting. But it might be frightening some of you. When you see people like Johan get locked up. When you see people like Olive Jack get locked up. When you see people like Jason get locked up. Frightening somehow, yeah. But the next question is, should we stay here as sitting ducks when the government of the day come here and take us out one by one by one? I hope you understand what is taking place in this country now. I don't know how the story could be more plain. Again, John Jeremy confessed. This thing is not about knowing who or knowing the PNM or how it built.
We are putting together our legal team. The mood of members of the executive is that we are excited about defending the People's National Movement. We are excited about defending Dr. Eric Williams' party.
PNM Chairman Marvin Gonzalez, as he responded to a question from the media, as the police service has confirmed that the High Court granted a preliminary unexplained wealth order under the Civil Asset Recovery and Management and Unexplained Wealth Act against the PNM and its trustees.
I understand the General Secretary was served.
They are not after knowing for any corruption purposes. John Jeremy, the UNC organization, want a listing of who is the financiers or the capital or the legs in which the PNM stand, that they could have a list to go after them. Some of them who playing both sides of the fence. Some of them who saying, boy, I'm not in politics, but the secretly supporting the PNM. They want to know all who lying, all who talking the truth. Yeah. They want to start a form of that list so they could know. So Trinidad and Tobago, this was our second broadcast based on that, and I hope you understand the facts, where the facts is concerned. So tonight, join Warrior Princess on her TikTok page, on Warrior Princess page on TikTok from 8 o'clock this afternoon, in which she is going to continue the fight. We have powerful panelists there, people who express themselves with vigor, with emotion, with heart, and with truth, people that they can trust. People like Trinity, people like Chatta, people like Xavier, people like Trinitons, people like Kitty, Kit Pack, and many others who does be there. But at this point in time, Trinidad and Tobago, I want you to understand that the Workers' Rights Platform, we are not beggars. we are simple individuals that come from simple walk of life, simplest of walk of life. And in closing, we are asking you to donate to our account, our Republic Bank account, so we too could continue the fight. Good afternoon, Trinidad and Tobago. Thanks for watching. Now is actually 20 minutes after the hour of 4 o'clock. And I hope you tune in to the broadcast this afternoon where Candace Edwards is going to deliver her speech, her views and perspectives of what is taking place in this country. So, this is our account number in any Republic Bank. Any Republic Bank. Any Republic Bank. So we could be able to spread this broadcast on more platforms. Thanks for watching Trinidad and Tobago. Any Republic Bank.